on Sunday, today, and as broadcast earlier on the show, we have with us this morning Lindsay Mason, and her sister, and her mom, who is a classmate of mine back at Parkside and West, oh, so many years ago. And no, actually did not find out about this situation that happened at Memorial High School from your mom. Mutual acquaintance of ours passed it along. Can you imagine that? Your mom didn't even think of me after this all happened. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
No, I think that's important to know because I don't want you or your family to be criticized by people thinking that you went running to a media outlet to kind of what's going on. All right? I found out about this and I decided to make it an issue. And you accepted my invitation to come on the show. And I appreciate that. So Lindsay, why don't you take a minute to introduce yourself to our audience, a little bit about who you are. We know you go to Memorial High School, what year you are, kind of what your future plans are, all that fun stuff.
Okay, I'm Lindsay Mason, and I go to Memorial. I'm a junior. I'm 18, and I plan on going to University of Tampa. Cross my fingers I get in, but anything in Florida would be nice. My grandmother lives out there. And I'd want to do something in therapy. I'm not really sure what yet, but we'll have to see what happens.
Okay, so you're a junior at Memorial.
Yep.
Now, have you been at Memorial for your whole high school career?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what happened?
Basically, there was a few exchanges on Facebook on someone's wall, and that was about it. I never talked to this person in...
Were you involved with these exchanges on Facebook?
Yes.
So, now, you had a Facebook argument with the girl who ultimately ended up assaulting you?
Yes.
Okay. So you know this girl?
Yes, I do.
And you don't get along, apparently?
No, not anymore.
So, let's kind of get in behind this.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the nature of the dispute you had with her on Facebook?
She would just write on my post how I would be like obsessed with my boyfriend at the time and how it was so pathetic and it was ridiculous.
So she was taunting you on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay. And did you reply to those Facebook posts?
Yes, I did.
Did you use nice words that would make your mom happy?
Probably not. I mean, I was trying to be nice, but then when she was saying some mean stuff, I did say some things I probably shouldn't have said, but nothing in the nature that would have resulted in my attack.
Okay. So were you young ladies squabbling over a boy?
A little bit. I mean, I wouldn't say that. I don't think she likes the kid.
Okay.
I just think she doesn't like me.
All right. Well, the story that I got, second or third hand, how many of her hands go, was that you were seen speaking to this young lady's ex-boyfriend, and she was upset about that, and that was the source of the dispute. Is that accurate, or is that
No,
not?
that is not accurate.
Okay. So she was picking on you because you have a boyfriend, had a boyfriend?
Had a boyfriend.
Had a boyfriend. And of course, at your age, you're always into your boyfriends or into your girlfriends at that age.
Yes.
It's funny how that changes, huh? So, all right. So you have this exchange on Facebook. Was it the day before, 2 days before? Was it a week before?
A week before. It was like there was a week before, 2 weeks before, and then it happened again a week before. But I had no idea this was going to happen.
Okay. So you're, in between classes and then all of a sudden?
Yes, what happened was I had no idea, but I guess this was planned, and I was the last to know. Okay. Yes, because they had their phones out ready, going down the hallway with her.
So there was a group of people with her who had their phones out.
Yes.
Taking videos or taking photos or
videos,
both?
Yes, and going behind her waiting to see me.
Going behind her waiting to see you, okay.
Yep, so then I walked out of class, she came around the corner, then when she saw me, she dropped her bag, and she charged towards me, and she punched me in the face. And I fell to the ground, and then she came on top of me, sitting on top of me, basically, and she held me by the hair and was punching me in the face repeatedly. So I kicked her off me, and then she came back and started kneeing me in the face repeatedly. And then I kicked her off again. I said something to her, and then I walked away, and I had to, no one would break it up. There wasn't, my friend, I was with my friend, she went to go get teacher to help and maybe get the girl off of me. No one would come.
So how many kids would you say were there with cameras taking, waiting
I
to
didn't
see the
see.
spectacle?
I didn't see, but I know that there's lots of videos going around.
Okay. And this girl who attacked you, now, true or false, she's how many cheerleading squads are there over at Memorial?
I'm not sure. I know there's a varsity, I know there's a junior varsity, and I think there's a freshman, I'm not sure.
Is she a varsity cheerleader?
No, she's a junior varsity, I believe.
She's a junior varsity cheerleader, and someone told me she was captain of that squad.
I'm not sure, I'm not sure.
Okay. And is she an upperclassman? What year
No,
is she?
she's a sophomore.
She's a sophomore. Is she physically bigger than you?
Yes, she's like twice my size.
Well, that wouldn't be hard.
Yeah, I am little.
So she, and how long would you say that this attack took?
Probably.
I know when you were involved in it, it seems like forever.
Yeah, it was probably like between like a minute and 30 seconds.
So somewhere between, this all happened within 30 to 60 seconds.
Yes.
Now, where physically were you in the building? Because now this is in between classes.
Yes, I just walked out of class.
You just walked out of class.
It was in the hallway.
Where in the building?
It was between the 500 wing and the 600 wing, right, almost going into the caf.
Okay, so you're near the cafeteria.
Mm-hmm.
What time of day is this?
This is like probably 11:15 exactly.
So it's also during lunch periods.
Yes.
Okay, so it's also so it's during the lunch period.
Mm-hmm.
So where were the teachers?
There was no teachers to be found.
Teachers don't, when in between classes, teachers don't come out of their classrooms and
They
and
usually
wander the hall.
do. I usually see teachers, but of course this one's the one time they don't come out is when this happens.
That's always the case. Now, what did I say? When I lived in I spent a semester at American University when I was in college, and true story. Right across the campus, I stayed on Tenleytown campus, and right across from where we were was this convenience store, donut shop, whatever you wanted to call it. And it got robbed while there were 3 cruisers in the parking lot.
Wow.
So there, the cops were there, and it just didn't matter. I will never, ever forget that. But anyway, okay, so this attack happens. You managed to break free.
Yes.
And what did you do after you broke free? I mean, obviously you didn't return fire, so to speak.
No,
you took off.
Yep, I got up and went away as fast as I could, and I went through the cafe. I was just going to go straight to the office to tell them, and I happened to see my assistant principal, and I grabbed her and I told her, and then they brought me to the nurse's office.
They brought you to the nurse's office. All right, we're going to pick it up here in just a minute. Gerard, large time is 6:44. We are with Lindsay Mason, a student assaulted on Thursday at Memorial High School. We're going to continue to get the details of what happened here. We have some questions, and we're going to talk about, I think, the environment in general. David, how are the roads? All right, Gerard, large time is 6:46. We continue now with Lindsay Mason. So, one question that comes to mind, Lindsay, is if you didn't see this coming, you said earlier on when you started that you thought that this was planned, that there were people with their cell phones ready to take pictures. If you didn't, how do you know that there were people ready with their cell phones? If you were caught by surprise.
Because a number of people that have seen the video say that it starts down the hallway behind her, watching her walk, and then when she sees me, she drops her bag and hits me. So that's how I know it was planned.
Okay. And that's how you know there were people ready with their cameras to take pictures.
Yes.
So is it just one person who had there, or is it multiple people?
I don't know.
All right.
But there's multiple videos.
There's multiple videos. And you say you were able to kick her off of you.
Yes.
On 2 different occasions. Obviously, the first time not enough to get away.
Yeah.
All right. So you get away after you kicked her off. Was it kicked her off you the second time?
Yeah.
Okay. And you find your assistant principal. They bring you to the nurse's office. What happened next?
They closed the door behind me, and I just lost, because I kept my composure through walking through the hallway and all that, and then once I got in there, they closed the door, and I started freaking out. I started panicking. It was a shock. I was shocked, and they basically held me down because I was just freaking out. And then they brought me into a separate room because people were banging on the door trying to get in.
They being the nurse and the assistant principal,
Yes.
Brought you into a separate room?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And just tried to calm me down, and then call my mom to have her come.
So now you said people were banging on the nurse's office door trying
Yeah.
to get in?
I don't know.
Friends of yours?
Yeah,
or?
I think so. They wouldn't let anyone in, though.
They wouldn't let anybody
No.
in? They didn't call an ambulance? I mean, you mean, it was pretty obvious that
Yeah.
you broken nose, you must have been bleeding an awful lot. Did they didn't call an ambulance or
No.
anything beyond that? Did the
No.
nurse do any kind of an exam?
Kind of. She, touched my face and stuff, and she told me how to hold my nose to stop the bleeding
Okay.
and stuff like that.
And then, at what point did the assistant principal, did she take a report from you? Was it she or he?
It's a she.
Okay, did she take a report from you at that point in time?
Sort of, they basically wanted to know what I did to get hit.
They wanted to know what you did to get hit?
Yes.
Okay. So they wanted to know, in other words, whether or not you provoked it.
Yeah.
What kind of questions did she ask you?
Just what happened. Did I say anything to her? And basically just that, the story.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay. At what point did you see the school, we call them school resource officers, the SROs, at what point did the police officer who's assigned to Memorial High School show up and talk to you?
Once I was calmed down, and once my stepdad got there.
How long did that take?
I'm not sure. I was kind of in a panic. Probably like a half an hour. Because I know he talked to her first.
He talked to...
The girl who attacked me first.
Oh, okay. So he went and he talked to the girl who attacked you
Mhm.
first, and then he came to talk to you.
Yes.
Okay. You didn't happen to save those Facebook posts, did you? You didn't pull them down?
No, I didn't. They're already off the page because after it happened, someone deleted all of it.
Oh, so the people who posted them came back and deleted them?
I'm not sure. It was deleted a while ago. It was deleted after it happened.
Deleted after it happened.
After.
Now, so they pulled down their post, but that would have left your responses up, wouldn't it?
No, because it's all gone.
Oh, it's all comments under the post?
Yeah, the person who had the Facebook deleted the wall post, so everything's gone.
So everything's gone. I'll bet you if the police wanted to, they could get it.
Yeah.
All right, so then the police officer, after speaking with the person who attacked you, came to talk to you.
Yes.
I'm just curious, what sorts of questions were you asked?
I wasn't really asked questions.
You weren't asked questions?
No.
Did you just come in to shake your hand and say
No,
hello?
came
or?
in and kind of talked to my stepdad and told him what we could do and how we could press charges and all that stuff, and basically just told me what she said to him. That's it.
Okay. So he didn't interview you at that time? He didn't ask you what happened from your point of
Not
view?
really,
Or
no.
did he just kind of seemingly take for granted the fact that, you get punched out?
Kinda, yeah.
Is that an 80s term, by the way, Lisa, punched out, or is that
Yeah.
kind of a... All right, so... Do they still use that term today? Have you ever heard anybody say you got...
Yeah.
Okay, all right. What contact... have you heard from the police since?
No.
So you have not... No one from the police department has contacted you for a follow-up interview, or your family for a follow-up? Have you heard from anybody at the school?
The nurse called my mom and see how I was doing, and also my mom talked to my assistant principal. Since.
Okay, so you haven't... So... now, did the assistant principal call your mom, or
Nope,
did your
my
mom call
mom
the
called the
assistant
assistant principal
Your mom called the assistant principal. So,
to ask about my work and stuff, if I could get my work. So I'm going to be missing a few days.
so basically you've heard nothing from, outside of the nurse picking up the phone to call to see how you were doing?
Yep, no.
Nobody at the administration office has called to check in? No one
No.
at the central office, the superintendent's office? No one's called to check in?
No.
How interesting. What have you been told about, if anything, what may happen to this girl who attacked you?
Well, all I know is that when someone hits someone, they get 5 days automatically. That's
so you're
all
talking
I know.
external suspension?
Yes.
Okay.
That's all I know. And then I know that the school's pressing charges along with us.
Okay.
and I know that my mom wants to do something civilly, but I'm not sure.
Okay. So the school, so you folks are going forward with charges.
Yes.
And by the way, you at some point ended up where? In a hospital?
Yes.
After your mom or your stepdad picked you up at the...
Yep, after they picked me up, it brought me home, and I changed, and then I went to urgent care.
Is that Elliot?
Yeah, over by the River Edge,
okay.
yeah.
So you obviously went through some sort of an examination there. They take x-rays,
Yeah,
et
I got
cetera,
a CAT scan, because
Yeah.
I weren't sure if there was other bones broken in my face.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, why is that? Maybe you weren't sure. I mean, you must have been all swollen up.
Yeah, I was all swollen, and she could tell right away that my nose was broken.
Okay.
So she just wanted to make sure that there was nothing else wrong, if there was any brain damage or anything.
Did they have to let the swelling come down before they could do any of their scans or tests? No. And I was told that you also had a concussion as a result.
Yes,
of this.
I do.
So you were hit hard enough to not only have your nose broken, which we had a caller this morning say, well, it doesn't have to be that hard to break somebody's nose, so I guess that makes it okay. But you had a concussion.
Yes.
Did they tell you how severe the concussion was? Was it mild? Was it moderate?
No, they just said that I had a concussion,
Just said you had a
and to
concussion.
stay away from like physical activities for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, are you planning on going back to school anytime soon?
Yeah, maybe later this week or next week.
Later
After
this week
my
or next week?
tomorrow, I'm getting my nose reset.
Oh, that
so,
sounds pleasant.
Yeah, so depending on how my face looks, probably not till next week.
Okay. And does this happen in school a lot? I mean, just
No.
as a general commentary or general environment.
From what
kind of
I've
thing.
seen, it's always that both parties are fighting.
Right.
For me, I did not fight back.
Well,
And that's not
Was
common.
was it because you got caught by surprise and didn't know what was happening, or you sort of made
no,
a conscious
I don't
conscious
fight back
attempt?
anyway. I've been in other incidents. I don't fight. Ladies don't fight.
Well, that seems to be lost on some people. Well, where do we go from here?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm not sure how I want to ask what I want to ask here. You say that there have been other incidents where people have sort of picked on you, or have you been threatened physically?
Yes. Many times.
For what?
For, like, I don't even know. For reasons I don't even know. Most of the time I don't have an idea.
Now, one of the things that I did after I heard about this, of course, is I went to Facebook to see
Yeah.
if you had a page. You have over 3,000 friends.
Yes, I do.
Do you know all 3,000 of them?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I know a majority of them.
You know a majority of them. See, I only have 1,700, I think, such users. And I probably don't know most of them. But, but is there something about the school environment or people today that is just naturally hostile? I'm trying, because I can think back to when I was in junior high school. In high school, I think I can remember 2 or 3 fights. I remember one. You probably remember the one back at Parkside between what was it, Jennifer Tulgren and Renee
Provo.
Provo, that's right. And that was a rumble in the schoolyard that everybody caught. But that was
Outside.
that was so rare. It was
Yeah.
outside, and you knew there was going to be a fight back in the day.
Oh,
it
everybody
wasn't just sort of this out of the blue attack.
Mm-hmm.
So you decided that you weren't even going to fight back, even though.
No. And I know that she's a minor and that I'm 18, so I wasn't going to chance me getting in trouble. It wasn't worth it.
It's awfully quick thinking for spur of the moment.
Smart lady.
I know because I've been in incidents where it's almost happened before, and I know that I'm not going to get myself in trouble by that.
So how often would you say, now, is this all in-school kind of threats that's taking place against
No, it
you,
happens
or-
on Facebook too. A lot of Facebook messages I get.
Why don't you just block people from posting on your wall?
They don't post on my wall. They message me. I'm
they
not
send
even
you
friends with them
messages.
sometimes.
Do you
so.
save these messages?
I have a lot of the messages, yes. Over the years at Memorial, I have been threatened and all that
Learning
before.
social media sometimes seems to be the gateway to not so great things. We continue now our interview with Lindsay Mason. She's a junior at Memorial High School. and was recently assaulted by a classmate, or at least a schoolmate, over what appears to have been a disagreement on Facebook. Would that be?
Yeah, you could say it like that.
We'll say it like that. All right, so before I ask now, one of the things that I am I'm not really cynical by nature, but I'm cynical by training. I've spent a lot of time dealing with people in politics, marketing, broad media, etc., etc. And I can imagine that there are some people out there thinking, what did she do to provoke this?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that there was an exchange on Facebook right before we went off the air. You mentioned, that there have been other incidents where people have taunted you, provoked you, or threatened you, either through Facebook or in person. What is it about you that attracts this? What are you doing to get up under people's skin?
I'm not sure. A lot of the time it's because of a guy or something, whoever I'm seeing at the time. A lot of people jealous or they don't like me, and it's just, in my school I'm either loved or I'm hated. And it's either way.
Welcome to
There's
my
no
life.
there's no gray area. There is no gray area.
Well, the good news for you is I'm 42, and I've pretty much been that way my whole life. So we can get there. And of course, then the other thing is you're here on the radio.
Yes.
And a lot of people would say, well, she's trying to get her 15 minutes of fame, or whatever the case may be. And I think it's important to remind everybody that when I found out that my friend's daughter was attacked at school, I called my friend to see how she and her daughter were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
And then I said, I think we need to start to do something to really examine what happens in schools with situations like this, maybe understand why they happen,
Mm-hmm.
maybe understand how they're dealt with, and maybe start to hopefully put a spotlight on things that can be changed. And I asked your mom if she wanted to come on, and she said absolutely not. Afraid she was going to be too emotional to talk about it. But and then I asked her if you'd be willing to come on, and she said it was up to you, and you said yes, you'd be willing to come on.
Mm-hmm.
Which begs another question in the cynic of me. Why? Why come on the air? Why bring attention to this? Honestly, it doesn't strike me sort of as a poor me kind of thing, but
Mm-hmm.
why did you want to do this?
Because I want to turn this negative into a positive, and I want to make sure that this doesn't happen to anyone else. And I want all of this to stop, and I want there to be a plan that when this happens, that the teachers and the administration, everything has a plan of what they can do. And I also want to make sure that I don't want anyone else to get attacked. This shouldn't happen at school. You're supposed to go to school to learn. You're not supposed to go to school to fear your safety.
Do you think, and like you said, I asked you before whether or not there was a lot of this,
Mm-hmm.
happening at school. And do you think, well, first of all, is this what we went through, 20, 30 years ago? Jealousies over, boyfriends, girlfriends, that cattiness that comes with being a teenager, and the natural jealousies of people. Only now, where we had some sense of restraint back in our day,
Mm-hmm.
only now there is no sense of restraint. People just feel free to act upon whatever impulses they have. Do you see a school environment where kids are just acting on whatever it is they have,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
they're
they
thinking
don't,
and feeling at the time?
Yeah, and they don't fear the consequences.
Are there consequences?
Not that, well, I know that suspension is one thing that they do, but I don't know of anything else that really happened. I haven't heard of anything else really, that's really happened, that people have heard about.
Have there been other assaults like this at Memorial?
Not that I know of. Usually the fights I see or I hear about, it's both parties.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like prearranged after school,
Mm-hmm.
or kind of like we used to do it in the good old days.
Yeah.
Not this guerrilla warfare.
Mm-hmm.
So, you believe this was planned?
Yes.
There were people there with cameras.
Yes.
Kids with their phones,
Mm-hmm.
videoing it,
Mm-hmm.
showing sort of the run up to it.
Yeah.
Coming down the hall, waiting for it. nobody intervenes.
Nope.
In the 30 to 60 seconds you say this assault happened in,
Yep.
no teacher was there to be found. You were with a friend of yours, and was she trying to find...
Yeah, my friend, she panicked, and she went and tried to find the closest teachers they could, and no one would come. And there was like...
No one would come, or
No.
she didn't find anybody?
I'm not sure. She
Okay.
said that she couldn't get anybody.
She couldn't get anybody.
That's all I know.
Okay.
And there was like 50 kids watching and did nothing.
Have you, and I probably shouldn't ask this question, but where a lot of this seems to be coming through social media, I mean, you mentioned that you've received other threats through social media.
Yep.
What do you do with these threats when you receive them? Do you print them? Do you save them? If
I
it's a
usually-
Facebook,
I
I asked you if
save-
that Facebook post
Yeah.
was.
It's already deleted. It's deleted before I could even save it. You know, that's what kind of happened. But usually I do save it in case something happens. This time I didn't because I didn't think anything of it and it was deleted so fast. But I have before, when things were serious, I had bring it to the principals or whatever. But usually nothing is done. They're just just told to leave me alone, and that's it. Like last year I was harassed all year long and nothing happened. I even had to call the police and the police just told me to go home.
They didn't take a report?
Nope, they just told me to go home.
Now when you say you were harassed, and what did you report to the police?
There was 3 girls following me around in a parking lot trying to jump me. And I called the police and they just told me to go home.
Okay. So while these girls were following you around, you called the police because you felt you were in danger.
Yes.
And this was in the parking lot at Memorial or parking lot
No,
somewhere
it was
else?
a parking lot by like TJ Maxx and Panera.
Did you know the girls?
Yes.
So how do you know that they were out to?
They were harassing me all year long.
Okay.
They would follow me around. They would come by the house. They would follow me from school. They would try to fight me all the time, try to jump me, and then at one time I even had to call the police, and the police just told me to go home.
But they didn't take any kind of report?
Nope.
They didn't. Now, were these girls juveniles? Under the age of 18?
No, I think at the time they were 17. I think they're 18 now, but this was last year. It has been resolved. Like, I don't have any problems with them anymore. But
What was the resolution?
one of them moved schools, so their pack kind of broke up.
The ringleader left.
Yeah.
For our large time is 7:16. We are interviewing Lindsay Mason. She is an assault victim from Memorial High School. She was attacked this past Thursday by a classmate, and decided to go another half hour because the whole social dynamic of this really kind of intrigues me. Are you sort of a target, or are there other kids that you know of in Memorial or maybe other places that are experiencing what you're experiencing on a regular basis or even a periodic?
I know a lot of people, a lot of girls and stuff do get bullied and harassed at my school and stuff.
Now, is this by other girls or is it also by boys?
I don't know about by boys, but I know it's by other girls. Usually nothing happens. You know what I mean? It's just on Facebook, and it's just, oh, if you do this, I'm gonna, just like threats, but never like actually done.
Have you given any thought to shutting down your Facebook page?
No.
Have you given any thought to limiting, changing the settings on your Facebook page so that people cannot post on it?
No.
How come?
Because on my actual Facebook wall, I don't get anything negative. I have all kinds of people's support from all around. So the only time it's a problem is when when people message me, and usually I just block them.
But you save the messages.
Yes.
Now, these people who message you, and I don't want to make this about you because I think it's probably more at play here. I think you're maybe representative of something that is sick in our culture, right? I think you might be representative. But when people message you, are they people with whom you've had direct dealings, or are they sort of a friend of a friend who's trying to get to you because they think you've done something to their friend?
Yeah, it's kind of both. It's kind of both.
it's kind of both.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's interesting. It seems that technology has given us the ability to hide and threaten. It used to be back in our day before technology that you did this kind of stuff face to face.
There's not a lot of that anymore.
Do you think now, and I'm asking you as an 18-year-old
Yeah.
kid, you know, I'm a 42-year-old fuddy-duddy, who is affectionately known around here as a social media moron. But do you think that technology, things like Facebook or Twitter or what is it, MySpace? Although that seems to be falling out of favor, MySpace. Do you think these medium are encouraging threats and violence? Do you think they're discouraging threats and violence, or do you think there's how much of this would exist, do you think, if Facebook didn't exist? I guess that's probably the best way to put it.
A lot of it wouldn't exist. A lot of it wouldn't happen. A lot of fights and a lot of drama starts over Facebook. You'd be surprised how much stuff happens because someone posts on someone's wall, someone comments something, someone likes something, then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, I kind of got a taste of that this weekend because I put up a post, being a charter member of evilconservative.com. I put up a post from Alveda King, you know, niece to Dr. Martin Luther King, on this whole whatchamacallit, kerfuffle over whether or not the Komen Foundation for Breast Cancer, or whatever they call themselves, should be funding Planned Parenthood. Talk about all, you know what, breaking loose.
Yeah.
Holy cow, 70 comments later.
Wow.
About half of them from me in response to what got posted. But, so yeah, I think there's some truth to the idea that there's a certain explosiveness in social media. So in the time we have remaining here, Lindsay, you say that you are speaking out because you want to see something happen where, in these instances, there is a plan by the schools or the police or somebody to deal with it, to head it off at the pass. And, being told to go home probably is not the, although good advice at the time is probably not the summary of the plan. What do you think, as an 18-year-old who's in school, who's obviously up to her eyeballs in social media? I mean, what is it? Oh, it was over 3,000 friends.
Yes.
So, the average Facebook user, I think, has got 110, 120. Okay?
Wow.
So you're way above average. By the way, they stop you at 5,000.
Do they really?
Yes. You can't have more than 5,000 friends.
Wow, darn it.
I guess at that point you get to have a fan page. But what do you see as what needs to be done from your point of view? I mean, it's one thing to say that, you know, a plan needs to be developed, but what kinds of things do you think the schools and or the police should be doing so that when these things start, they can be stopped before they get to the point that they got to?
I'm not sure. I know from the past I've gone to the administration and I've talked to them and stuff, and they kind of just keep stuff on the hush-hush, and they just talk to the person, they think it's going to go away. It doesn't go away. Talking to the person, telling them that they need to stop, doesn't make them stop. They don't care what the principal has to say. You know what I'm saying? And basically, I want to be the voice for people who don't have a voice and people who get harassed and attacked and don't have a chance to speak out. That's really what I want to do. And I want to make sure that instead of the principal and stuff and the nurses being worried about the he said, she said, that they're worrying about what's going on with my face, what's going on with, you know, if the person's all right, what if, you know, not worrying about the he said, she said. So
do you think the fact that you've gone to the administration, you know, or you've tried to go to the police to get these things corrected, do you think that makes you a bigger target, kind of like you're a tattletale, run to mommy kind of thing?
Yeah, I used to hear that a lot, that they didn't
Frown noser.
Yeah, that I'd run to the principal's office, but I don't care.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'2".
How much do you weigh?
I weigh 118 pounds. around there.
And do you find that the people who taunt you are physically bigger than you are?
Yes.
As a general rule, is anybody smaller than you? I think my 4'9.5", 90-pound sister is smaller than you. My sister's really that big, by the way. So the people who taunt you are physically bigger than you.
Yes, much bigger.
You think they're jealous?
I'm not sure. That's what people say.
Jealous of what? I mean, the fact that you've got a lot of friends, or you're personable, or you're a pretty girl. What?
Yeah, that's what people
Boys
usually
like you
say.
more than they like them.
Yeah, that's what people usually say. I'm not sure.
Their boyfriends, maybe took a look they shouldn't have.
Yeah. I don't know.
And I'm not trying to be facetious here. I'm really kind of scratching my little wooden head to try to understand, as best I can from this incident, what is really sort of at the genesis of, I think what we would all agree is just way too much violence, period, in the schools. So it'll be interesting to see what comes up as a result of this. But Lindsay, we are sadly out of time, but I want you to know that tomorrow we will be speaking to Manchester Police to find out how it works from their end. We will be speaking with Superintendent Brennan to find out how the administration deals with these things. Every Wednesday, the mayor comes in for a chat with us.
Yep.
We'll be asking the mayor, as the mayor of the city and the chairman of the school committee, how he thinks it should work. And on Thursday, we have school committee woman Sarah Ambrogi from Manchester's Ward 1, the North End. She sits on the student conduct committee, which has these matters referred to them for adjudication.
Yeah.
So my goal here is to try to put a spotlight on the system and how it works, and the information that you've shared with us over the past hour about your personal situation, and just kind of giving us a glimpse into how social media really is at play in a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Has been very helpful, at least to my understanding of these social paradigms that frankly I don't understand. Just, I am a dinosaur. And I have, and listen, I'll tell you, I had my share of fights as a kid too. Usually because my sisters were getting picked on, but usually picked on by boys in the neighborhood or something like that.
Yeah.
Not for any other reason. And can you believe that I got into fights over my sisters? No one would believe that. Makes me glad they live far away. No more fights. And, but this has been helpful, and I appreciate your taking time to help us understand what's going on in the schools a little bit and get a better handle on it, so that we can ask the decision makers, the policy makers, about why it works the way it does, and get their input on some changes that can be made. So I hope you'll stay tuned this week. I hope your friends will do the same.
I will, definitely. It's awesome that you are taking an interest in this, and that people are gonna hear about it, and gonna try to make a change.
Well, thank you. This is one of the reasons why I started this show, to affect the local dialogue and the discussion, and we're going to stay on it, and hopefully it will come to a better resolution for everybody. Keep us up to date on how things go with you, and stay tuned. All right, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Lindsay Mason, Junior at Memorial